On today's episode, it's time about the movies. The black suits are back once again, but this time one of them's going back to the past where they meet their partner, who is played by a completely different actor. And it actually works out pretty well in the end. Men in Black 3. And we also have Paranormal Activity director Oren Peli with his latest film, Paranormal Activity in Chernobyl, pretty much. Chernobyl Diaries. Wes Anderson's back with a new movie, Moonrise Kingdom. And we also have the movie that inspired The Upside, which was The Untouchables. So we have 4 films to take a look at for Memorial Day weekend 2012. This is, of course, time about the movies.
To your head, Men in Black 3, means 3 to 1, PG-13.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 4 films that make up May 25th, 2012. And we start off, of course, with our biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Men in Black 3, the third installment of the Men in Black series, coming less than 10 years after the last Men in Black movie, which was not a big success overall, but this one was coming out so they could try to end the series on a much more positive note in general, and I would say that they did indeed succeed in that. You have an alien criminal, played by Jermaine Clement, who kills the young Agent K in 1969, altering the timeline, changing the agency, and placing the Earth in danger. Veteran Agent J, once again played by Will Smith, must travel back in time to 1969 to before the murder and work with the young Agent K, played by Josh Brolin, to save him, the agency, the Earth, and humanity itself. And I really gotta be honest, this movie was one of the biggest surprises of that entire summer. I mean, this is a movie that was not only a great improvement over the last film, but I really enjoyed the hell out of it. This actually felt like a legitimate sequel to the original Men in Black, where it felt like the story was maturing, and it found a way to bookend itself nicely from the beginning of the last movie to this film. I enjoyed this one. This is the perfect example of good, fun, summer escapism entertainment. It's a film that doesn't insult the intelligence of its audience like the movie we got last week with Battleship. I mean, this is a really, really fun film. I had a good time watching this. Tommy Lee Jones, he's not in the movie that much, but you can still tell that the both of them have that magic that just works so well with one another. With him and Will Smith, it just works so well to a T, and you can just see the great effort being put in there with with the performances in this. But Will Smith gets to work with not only Tommy Lee Jones as K, but also Josh Brolin as a younger version of K, which was surprisingly spot on. I mean, that was the big thing you take away from this movie. It's like, everyone was talking about back then, it's like they really went back in time and got Tommy Lee Jones from 1969 and brought him back for this film. That's what it felt like. That's how authentic this performance is. I mean, Josh Brolin knocked it out of the park in this movie. And as I said before, I like the fact that they brought the storyline of Men in Black full circle. The last 5 minutes... excuse me. The last 5 minutes does a very good job of tying up all the loose ends from the previous movies and actually bringing it back full circle. Like, I love the way they actually brought everything together, and it didn't feel like it was being forced in a way. It felt authentic. It felt like you could look at this and go like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense overall. What makes this movie really work overall is that it's not 2 hours long. It's only about an hour and 46 minutes long. A relatively short movie. I mean, it knows when to wrap it up and not overstay its welcome. There was a lot of movies that came out around that time that were just going on and on and on. The aforementioned Battleship, which went on for 2.5 hours. But there are some complaints about the film in general. I will say that the first 5 minutes I thought were very underwhelming. You have this character played by Nicole Scherzinger, and she is a character they were building up before this movie was coming out to be like one of the main characters of the movie. She's gone within 5 minutes, so it's just kind of like, why did you even bother casting her for this? I mean, this feels really, really pointless. And secondly, as much as I like Jermaine Clement in the movie, I thought his character wasn't that great in general. It's the same problem the second movie had. The villain wasn't all that threatening. In the first film, you bought Vincent D'Onofrio as the villain. He actually had some really effed up moments in that movie. The second film villain was really underwhelming because she really had the feeling of a character that didn't think her plan all the way through. Here I thought Clement was doing the best job he could with a character that wasn't thought out well at all. It really just felt like somebody that was just, really was just there to be the stock villain in general. And there's only one big complaint I have. Other big complaint I have about the movie is the fact that you don't get a Will Smith song in this. I mean, Will Smith really should have stepped out of retirement at this point from music to do one more song. Instead, we get a song from Pitbull, which it's not bad, but it certainly would have been better if we had a Will Smith song in here. I mean, that one's a little bit of a nitpick thing overall, but overall, I did really enjoy the hell out of Men in Black 3. I thought it was a ton of fun overall. It definitely is a much better movie than the second film was, and it ended the series on a much more positive note. I mean, if the series had just ended with these 3 films, you could say that was a pretty good series overall, but, of course, they had to make a 4th one, and, yeah, that... Not so much, no. Just no. We'll eventually get to that one in 2019, so take that for what you will. But Men in Black 3 overall was really good. So, with that said, on to the next movie, Chernobyl Diaries.
Chernobyl Diaries, rated R, starts May 25th.
Fucking white people, man. Literally, this movie is the definition of fucking white people. Like, you know, we're in Russia, Moscow, Russia. You know where we should go? Let's go to Chernobyl. What could possibly go wrong there? And, I mean, you see it in the trailer. It's just kind of like, come on. You gotta be smarter than this. A group of people toured the abandoned Ukraine town of Pripyat, which was impacted by the Chernobyl disaster, and ended up discovering a dangerous threat lurking. A dangerous threat that uses flat Stanley cardboard cutouts of people that white people like these idiots are able to find very convincingly, and just like, hey, are you in trouble? Obvious thing that can't move. Like, in I Am Legend, it made sense. I mean, Will Smith was the last man on Earth he thought he was, but this is really, really stupid, man. Like, you don't feel for anybody in this movie. You don't feel for these people that are coming from all over the world. You don't feel for the guy who's driving them there. You don't feel for anybody in this movie whatsoever. You want them to die. And for a movie like this, you can't have that. You've got to be smarter than this. And if anybody was going to be smarter than this, it's got to be the guy who made Paranormal Activity, which I said this was directed by him. That is not true. He actually wrote and produced this movie. It's actually directed by somebody else, so maybe that's the reason why this movie failed miserably. But still, you wrote the script for this. You're one of the producers for this. You made Paranormal Activity. You should be able to tell this guy that's directing this, hey, here's how you do this. Here's how you make this work. But then again, I wouldn't expect much for a movie that only cost $1 million to make. So, yeah. I mean, do I ever really just say, well, what's wrong with this movie? What isn't right? What's right with this movie is the better question. Just Chernobyl Diaries, just avoid it like the plague. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. Let's get back to some good stuff. Wes Anderson's latest film, Moonrise Kingdom.
Rated PG-13, down 20.
Sold. Here's my card. Do what you want with it. I mean, you got Bill Murray telling you to go see this movie. How can you not trust Bill Murray with a movie like this? Moonrise Kingdom. It's largely set on the fictional island of New Penzance, somewhere off the coast of New England, and tells the story of an orphan boy played by Jarrett Gilman who escapes from a scouting camp to unite with his pen pal and love interest, a girl with excessive tendencies, played by Kara Hayward. Feeling alienated from the group, from the Guardians, and shunned by their peers, the lovers ascend to an isolated beach. Meanwhile, the island's police captain, Bruce Willis, organizes a search party of scouts and family members to locate the runaways. As you see in the trailer, Bill Murray, Frances McDormand, Jason Schwartzman, Tilda Swinton, essentially the Wes Anderson regulars, are in this movie, and really, this is about as good of a movie as you can get from Wes Anderson. If you like Wes Anderson films in general, this is definitely the movie that you look forward to. I mean, this is a film that really delivers what you want to see in a Wes Anderson film in general. It's a movie that is very brightly colorful. The casting overall is great. The comedy overall is really good. This is a terrific film. It's a really, really impressively put together film, and I'm trying to multitask here while I'm doing this, which I probably should not do. There we go. I had to stick that card back underneath my pile here, like coins and chips and all that, but back to this movie in general. This is a really good movie. This is probably one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies he's ever made. I mean, it's a movie that is very funny, a great visual style to it, a great cast, really fun comedy all across the board. This is everything you can ask for in a Wes Anderson movie, and then some. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. It's a terrific film. Can't recommend it enough. Not much more to say about this one. Moonrise Kingdom, really, really fantastic film. So with that said, on to our last film that we have here, a movie that inspired a big comedy hit at the end of the decade. We have here The Intouchables.
The Intouchables, rated R.
The Untouchables tells the story of a rich quadriplegic who's living in a mansion in Paris that requires a live-in carrier. A young offender, played by Omar Sy, who you'll later see in Jurassic World, turns up for an interview, but he is not really looking to get the job. However, to his surprise, he is hired. The two men then develop a close friendship. And as I said before, this is a film that eventually led to a remake in 2019 called The Upside, which featured Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston, as well as Nicole Kidman. It was actually not a bad movie. It was actually a really good movie overall, as was this film. This was one of those big surprises that really kind of took a lot of people by surprise in general. I mean, this is a film that was very well put together. It was a film that was very well made. Was put on the short list for the Academy Awards, but it wasn't nominated among the final films for Best Foreign Language Film. But it's a really good movie, and I think it does a very good job of creating this small little story about these people, these two people who come together. You know, they're trying to live together in this world that they're putting themselves into. Some people criticize this in the same way they praise something like Driving Miss Daisy or Green Book. I think this is definitely better than both of those movies. I mean, Driving Miss Daisy is a good film. Green Book, not so much. But this movie was not a Driving Miss Daisy. This is like Driving Miss Daisy if it was much cooler and didn't fall into predictable Oscar schlock. This feels like they were actually trying and actually did a very good job of handling that. I think it's a very solid film. I think it's a well-made film overall. It's a film that doesn't get a whole lot of attention overall, but it's definitely one you want to check out. A very underrated film that led to a very successful comedy remake in the States here 7 years later. It's definitely worth a watch. I highly recommend The Untouchables. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we take a look at two more movies that kick off the month of June. The far better Snow White movie released in 2012. Kristen Stewart, Chris Hemsworth, and Charlize Theron in Snow White and the Huntsman. We also have the sequel that somebody was asking for, Piranha 3 Double D. So, two movies to take a look at next time around. We'll cover those tomorrow if you're on the show, so stay tuned for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like this video and want to see more of it, more stuff like this, please go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Don't forget to check out our playlist and check out the last episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.